What can we do with what we have where we are?
Chris Temple and Zach Ingrasci are the filmmakers behind two amazing Netflix documentaries.
Living on $1.
The documentary Salam Neighbor.
I'd like to introduce our next panelists.
Two filmmakers.
Your next speakers, Zach Ingrasci and Chris Temple.
Thanks so much, guys, for coming in.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Wow, they must be some extremely inspiring guys.
All right, this is amazing. Hello, everybody.
Curiosity pushed them to Peña Blanca, Guatemala, to live on $1 a day and experience firsthand what it's like to live below the poverty line. They documented the whole experience and eventually turned it into the Netflix documentary, Living on $1.
When we started out, we didn't actually even intend to make our first film, Living on $1. We set out to spend a summer living on $1 a day ourselves while doing research on how families are surviving at that level.
You know, Chris and I both are what we call accidental filmmakers. We actually studied economics. We met in college with this kind of shared passion of understanding global issues and, you know, really getting deep into sustainable development.
See how much stuff is in there.
Our research showed us just how incredibly innovative our neighbors were, but they lacked an opportunity to succeed. We left wanting to share this story with the world, to educate, to inspire, and to build empathy through our documentaries and presentations.
We can be involved in this. It's an inspiring story, and it's something that you can walk away with and then do something about it.
It just keeps you connected to, you know, the world is a smaller place.
Then they did it again with Salam Neighbor. They were the first filmmakers to be given a tent in a Syrian refugee camp.
In the course of the 4 weeks that they spent in Zaatari camp, you can almost see the journey of a lifetime in the way people act and think and relate to each other.
Oftentimes people think about refugee issues as a short-term problem. It's a short-term thing about humanitarian needs, right? But when you think about it, on average, refugees like Rauf are displaced for 17 years living inside of these camps. That's just the global average. So that's an entire childhood.
When we drove into the camp, I remember my heart was pounding. All I knew about Syria was the violence I had seen on the news. But when we started setting up our tent, our new neighbors poured out of the tents around us to help. And in that moment, that fear that I was carrying with me disappeared.
And the key is dialogue. And that's what this film to us was always about. It was about going in and taking the time to speak with somebody who's different than you, speak with somebody from a different religion, a different background, speak with a refugee and hear their voices, have these dialogues instead of monologues.
And every time we go back, we ask this question again and again: how can I help? And this is the most important question of this journey for us.
Of recognizing with enough humility that we don't have all the answers and that people are experts in their own lives. You don't have to know today what your passion is. You don't have to know what you want to do for the rest of your life.
I hope that you commit to doing one thing, because those small actions, they will change the world. And I think to get it today, we need to start making this world a more welcoming place for our friends like Rauf, Ismail, Ali, and Gasun, who unfortunately couldn't be here today to speak for themselves, but hopefully one day will.
What really matters? The number of views that we received on Netflix doesn't really matter. The amount of money that we raised doesn't really matter. What does matter is that what we created is changing real people's lives.